Hello guys, welcome into another tutorial. We're going to be making the Easy Peasy Poncho today. The supplies you're going to need are at least 2 cakes of yarn. If you're making this poncho sort of a medium to large size, the larger ponchos will need more yarn. You're going to at least want to start with 2 cakes. I like to use this Red Heart Roll With It yarn, and the yardage on this cake is 389 yards. You're going to need at least 2 skeins of this, maybe 2.5, maybe 3 or more, depending on how long you want your poncho to be. This is 100% acrylic yarn. It is rated a number 4 yarn, but it works up like a 3 weight yarn. I love to use these cakes, or a mandala cake works well too from Lion Brand. We're going to use a 6.5 millimeter number K crochet hook. You're also going to need a tape measure, a pair of scissors, and you might need some stitch markers to help you, especially if you're beginners. Stitch markers will be your best friend. So get your yarn out. We're going to attach the yarn to our hook with a slip knot. So find the end of your yarn. I'm going to try to go slow for beginners. So if you are not a beginner and you want to skip ahead with the timestamps, you can. Also, if any time during the video I'm going too fast, if you're watching your phone, just click on the screen. You're going to see a circle wheel. Click on the little wheel and then choose playback, and just lower the playback speed to whatever speed you want to watch this at. So you can always slow down this video in settings. If you're using your phone, just click on the screen. If you're using your TV to watch or your laptop, go into settings and adjust the playback speed and slow the video down as much as you want. Okay, so we're going to attach our yarn with a slip knot. So we're going to make a circle. We're going to leave a long tail because we are going to attach the collar with our tail. So make sure you leave, I don't know, around 10 inches or so to attach your collar. So we're going to make a circle around our finger, just like that. You're going to bring the yarn underneath that circle and push it through. Pull that circle through. That's a slip knot. There are many ways to do them. This is just the way that I like to do mine. So we have our 6.5 hook. We have a slip knot. Okay, we're going to chain 74. A chain is just loop over and pull through. You're going to want to keep a nice tension so you have a nice looking collar, and you're not going to want to make this too tight or too loose. So just make a nice chain like this. So continue making your chain of 74, and I will meet you at the end. Okay, so we have our chain of 74, and you can put this around your neck and see if you want a longer chain. This will stretch, especially as you wear it, it will stretch. But if you want to add some more chains for a larger neck, you can add multiples of 6 at this point. Okay, so if you put this around your neck and you think it's too small, just add 6 chains. All right, so we're going to start with row 1, and we're going to do a half double crochet into the 3rd chain from the hook. And you can tell the 3rd chain from the hook by counting these V's. We're not going to count this loop. We're going to count 1, 2, 3 V's down on our chain. So here's chain number 3. To do a half double crochet, we're going to loop our yarn, count 1, 2, 3 chains down. I like to go into the bottom, not the top of the chain. Insert your hook and pull through all 3 loops. That's a half double crochet. And we're going to do a half double crochet in every single stitch down your chain. So continue making half double crochets. This is going to make it very easy for us to connect the collar and not worry about it turning on us or getting twisted. Again, I am trying to go slow for beginners, and you can use the timestamps to skip ahead if you want to. Again, we're not going too tight or too loose, so try to have a nice, steady, consistent tension. And those of you who struggle with your tension, it just takes practice, so just keep crocheting, and the more you crochet, the better you will get at your tension. So continue to, we'll meet you at the end of the row. This is what it should look like so far. Okay, so we're continuing to do half double crochets all the way down the chain. I'm almost at the end of my chain. And if you like this width for a collar, you can skip ahead to row 3, but we're going to put just one more row of half double crochets. So that was the last stitch right there. All right, so for row 2, we're going to, and this is what it looks like at the end of row 1. So I'm going to put my work down so you can see after row 1 it looks like this. Okay, so to start row 2, we're going to chain up 2, and we're going to turn our work, and we're going to half double crochet in every single stitch. I'm going right down into that very first stitch with a half double crochet, and this turning chain does not count. We're just going to keep continuing to do half double crochets. This will give us a really pretty border around our poncho. Again, if you don't want a thicker collar like this, you can just skip ahead to row 3. So just continue putting half double crochets into every single stitch. So continue putting half double crochets all along this row, and I will meet you at the end of the row. Okay, so we're just continuing to do the half double crochets. I'm just about at the end of the row. Again, if you needed a larger size, just add multiples of 6 to your initial chain for larger sizes. So just make a half double crochet into that last stitch right there. And then you're going to take your collar and you're going to make sure it's not twisted. It's very easy because it's nice and wide. And my collar measures around 27 inches right now. So we have our collar, and we're going to be slip stitching into the first stitch, not the turning chain, but the first stitch. So insert your hook, get your 2 collars matching up, and we're going to pull through the loops on our hook. So that is a slip stitch, and then see how easy it is to join your collar right here. So we're going to take our yarn needle, and you're just going to attach your 2 ends of your collar together here. I'm just doing it very quickly right now just so it doesn't flop around and get tangled. So there is our collar, and this will stretch. So this is what it looks like when we have connected our collar. Okay, so for row 3, we're going to chain up 3. And we're going to turn our work. And we're going to make 2 double crochets right into that very same stitch, 2 double crochets. Okay, that first chain 3 is counting as our first double crochet, and we made 2 more in that same stitch right here. Okay, and now we're going to chain 3. And then we're going to place 3 double crochets right into that same stitch. Okay, so this is what it's going to look like. Okay, so after we completed our corner, this is corner number 1. We did our 3 double crochets. We're going to chain 1. And then we are going to skip 2 stitches. So count 1, 2 chains here, 2 stitches. 1, 2, we're going to skip 2 stitches, and then we're going to place 3 double crochets into the next stitch. So skip 1, 2, and we're placing 3 double crochets into the next stitch. We're going to chain 1, and we're going to skip 2 more stitches and place 3 double crochets into the next stitch. And we're just going to repeat this for 9 more times until we have a total of 11 clusters on the side, not counting our corner. So keep continuing to chain 1, skip 2 stitches, and put 3 double crochets into the next stitch. Make sure you're doing your chain 1 in between your clusters. Okay, so we have been continuing to make the double crochet clusters right here with the chain 1 in between, and we're skipping 2 stitches, and we have our corner 1 back here, and you can put a stitch marker in your corner 1 chain space at that point to help you identify corner 1. And then if you count, you can have 11 clusters. You're going to have 11 clusters. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And then we're coming up to corner number 2. And I have already placed my stitch marker here. So we have 2 stitches we're going to be skipping as usual. And we've already chained 1. And we're going to put 3 double crochets into that corner space. I put a stitch marker in there just to help me identify it. Okay, so we've already got our 3 double crochets, and then we're going to chain 3. And then we're going to put 3 double crochets right back into that same space, that same stitch. chain 1. Okay, so this is what it should look like for corner number 2. We have 3 double crochets, chain 3, 3 double crochets. The reason why, and people have asked me, the reason why we are going to be identifying corner 1 from corner 2 is corner 2, we're coming up to it from our rows like this, from our stitches. We don't have to do any connection here. Whereas corner 1, we're going to have to connect and then slip stitch over to this corner so that our seam will be virtually invisible going here. That is why we identify corner 1 and corner 2. So move your stitch marker up to that space, chain space, and that will help you not miss this when you come back around. So we have our corner 1 and our corner 2 identified. Okay, we've already done our chain 1 after our 3 double crochets. So we're going to skip 2 stitches here, and we've already looped over our yarn, and we're going to go in that next stitch with 3 double crochets. We're going to chain 1. We're going to skip 2 stitches and go into the next one with 3 double crochets. Chain 1. Skip 2 stitches. Go into the next stitch with 3 double crochets. Chain 1, and you're going to continue putting your clusters all across this row. Make sure you chain 1 in between here and skip 2 stitches and put 3 double crochets into the next stitch. Continue across, and I will meet you when we come to this corner 1 again. Okay, so I'm just working my way across the row. Skip 2. This will be our last cluster before our connecting. So we put our 3 double crochets here. We're going to chain 1, and we should have 2 stitches in between our cluster. And we're going to connect here with a slip stitch. So you're going to insert your hook into the top of your chain 3, and you're going to pull it through that stitch and then pull it through the loop on your hook. Tighten it up a little bit. Okay, so this is what corner 1 should look like. Okay, I had to go back because I wasn't recording and I don't know when it stopped recording. All right, so I just took my work out and I'm gonna go back here, and we're chaining 1. Here's our 2 stitches that we're going to be skipping right here, and we're gonna connect with corner number 1. We're going to make a slip stitch right at the top of that chain 3, our initial chain 3. So go right into that top of that chain 3 stitch. Loop your yarn and pull through. That's a slip stitch. Do the same thing to the next 2 stitches. So you're going to insert your hook right underneath the top of that stitch like that. Pull through the loop on your hook. Okay, and we're going to go into this chain 3 area and pull through. That's going to get us where we need to be into this chain 3 area. So we're going to chain 3. This is going to get us up at the height that we need to make our double crochets for this row. So we're doing rounds now, and we're connecting and going up here on corner number 1. So I've got a lot of questions for people asking why we have to slip stitch and do this chain here for corner 1, because it's not the same as corner 2. With corner 2, we're already up at the height that we need, and we're just continuing around to make corner number 2. And corner number 1, we're coming along here, and we're connecting, slip stitching over to this space here, and then we need to go up to the height that we need to make this next round. That's why corner 1 and corner 2 are different. Okay, so we've already chained 3, and that's counting as our first double crochet for this next round, which I think we're on number 4 now. Okay, so we're going to make 2 double crochets here into that same chain space. Our big chain 3 space here, that's where we're putting all of these stitches. We're going to chain 3. This is our corner number 1. And see, we have our stitch marker here. We're going into the same chain 3 space with 3 double crochets. And we're chaining 1. Okay, so I'm going to take my hook out and show you what corner 1 should look like now that we've started row 4. Okay, so we are continuing with row 4. We've just finished our corner number 1, and I really like to move up my stitch marker. So take your stitch marker out and just move it up to that chain 3 space. That will help you identify your corners. We've already done our chain 1, and we're going to be placing 3 double crochets into our chain 1 space from the row before. Chain 1, and then we're putting 3 more double crochets in the next chain 1 space. Chain 1, 3 double crochets in the next chain 1 space. Chain 1, and now you're just going to continue doing your clusters with your chain 1 between, and you're going to put 3 double crochets into each of these chain 1 spaces. With a chain 1, Really easy from here on out. Three double crochets, chain one in every single cluster going around. So just continue that and I will meet you at corner number 2. This is what it should be looking like so far. Okay, so I am approaching corner number 2. I'm putting my last 3 double crochets in here in the space before the corner. Chain 1, and then we're going to be placing 3 double crochets in that corner space. Chain 3, and then 3 more double crochets into that same corner space. That big corner space right here, we're putting 3 double crochets. That is our corner number 2. Chain 1. Okay, so let's look at corner number 2. We're going to move our stitch marker up. If you don't have a stitch marker, you can use a different color piece of yarn, a bobby pin, anything, a hair clip. Just another piece of yarn will work fine. Okay, so here's what corner 2 is looking like now that we've finished it on row 4. Okay, so we've moved our stitch marker here to our corner space. That'll help us keep track of our corner. We've already done our chain 1, and we're going to just continue putting 3 double crochets in each one of these chain 1 spaces going across your row. And every time we do a row, these side spaces are going to increase by 1 cluster on each side. That is how our poncho is getting larger and larger because of our 2 corners. This is our increase on both of our corners. So continue placing your double crochet clusters in each of these chain 1 spaces. And we're putting a chain 1, again, if I'm ever going too fast, you can pause the video and you can adjust the settings very easily by adjusting the playback speed. If you're watching by your phone, just tap the screen, hit that little cog wheel, and then choose playback and adjust the speed, and then you can just slow down the video to as slow as you want. Chain 1. So make sure you're doing your chain 1 between your clusters, and you're doing your clusters in this chain 1 space, and continue until you reach corner number 1, because corner number 1 will always have this step up here, okay? And just continue, and I will help you connect this one more time, and then we're just repeating this row over and over and over again until it is the length that you would like. So just continue doing your clusters, and I will meet you at the end of the row to connect. Okay, we're back to corner number 1. I'm doing a chain 1. I'm doing my last cluster here before the corner. So we're doing the same way that we've been doing. We put 3 double crochets here, and then we're going to chain 1, And then you're going to insert your hook at the top of the chain 3. So just put it right into the top of that stitch, pull through. That's one slip stitch. Pull through the next one. And then I just stick my hook into the big chain 3 space, grab your yarn, pull it through the loop on your hook. So we have slip stitch over the top of these stitches on corner number 1. Okay, that's what it should look like. Okay, so to start row 5, we're going to chain 3. That's going to get us up to the height we need for this next row, for row 5. And we're going to place 2 double crochets in that same chain 3 space. Our chain 3 is counting as our first double crochet in that row or round. We're going to chain 3, and then we're going to place 3 more double crochets into this corner space. Just like that, chain 1. So this is row 5, corner number 1. We're going to always move our stitch marker up, especially for beginners. Don't be afraid to use stitch markers. They will help you with everything. Okay, so we've moved our stitch marker up. Now let me give you a little bit of things to look for. So this is corner number 1. Corner number 1 is always going to have this step up where we connect our rounds. We're connecting our rounds and going up to get to the next round. So this is where our slip stitches are right here. If we did not do this and we just started out here, our corner would be going, not our corner, but our seam would be very visible. It would start going out like this diagonally here, and it would keep changing spaces because we are increasing. And so by going into this space right here, our corner space, stepping up and slip stitching over to start our row in this corner space, this is going to keep our seam nice and invisible. It's going to just stagger right here very, very nicely. Okay, so we're going to have corner number 1 here, and then if you flip your poncho around, this is corner number 2. Corner number 2, we do not have to step up at all because we're already here at the height that we need when we're going right around our round. Okay, and so this is what your poncho should be looking like. You have your neck here, which is going to stretch as this gets longer and heavier. Okay, we have our corner number 2 here that does not have the step up. Corner number 1 here is the one with the step up, okay, and the slip stitches. All right, so now we're just repeating row 4 over and over and over again. We are on row 5. So you're just going to continue doing the same thing. If you need to rewind and go watch row 4 again, you can. So we just remember to do your chain 1 between your clusters and just continue with these rounds for as long as you want your poncho. And if you want a roomier poncho with a flowier, roomier fit, you could actually chain 2 between these clusters. That will give you a looser fit. I like the chain 1, but it's all personal preference. So if you want a looser, drapier feel, if you need it to be a little roomier for you, you can just chain 2 there instead of the chain 1, and you would just do it everywhere. You want to be consistent. Okay, so continue doing your 3 double crochet clusters with your chain 1 between them for as long as you want your poncho, and I will meet you at the end. I usually do between, I don't know, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30 rows. It all depends on how long I want my poncho. So you can make it as long or as short as you want. You can make it a crop poncho, like a short sleeve poncho if you want, and do less rows. You could do a lot of rows and make it really long. It's all up to you how long you make your poncho. But right now we're just continuing row 4 or round 4 over and over and over again. So just continue. So pause the video and continue on your own, and I will meet you at your desired length, and then I will show you how to finish off your poncho and make your fringe. If you want fringe, fringe is optional. So you can just pause the video and I will meet you at your desired length. Okay, so just popping in and doing a little check to see how you're doing. So I have been continuing to make these rows here, and I just want to give you another look at these slip stitches. So we're just going to slip stitch when we get to our corner 1 here. So you have 3 stitches here, you have the chain 3 and 2 double crochets. So you're just going to put a slip stitch in the top of these stitches going across, and then slip stitch to the center, and then go up for each corner of your corner number 1. So I hope you're enjoying working on this poncho pattern. Just keep making your rounds, and I will check in with you later. Okay, just to give you a little update on my Easy Peasy Poncho tutorial. So I'm working through my pattern here, and I'm just continuing the rows to get it to my desired length, but it's coming out just gorgeous and beautiful. Just give you an update on the progress. Hello guys, we are back in. How did you do? How many rows did you do? All right, so I have been crocheting and crocheting all night long and this morning, and I am just about to the end of my length, at my desired length. Again, you make this poncho as long as you want, so keep repeating those rows until you get to your desired length for you. Okay, so here's our last cluster that we are making, and we chain 1. And then let me just review this slip stitch going over here. Okay, so we count up 3. We go into that stitch right there. We count up to that 3rd chain and do a slip stitch in the top of that 3rd chain. And then we do another slip stitch right here. See that horizontal line right here, that V? This is the 2nd crochet there, so we go underneath there, grab our yarn, pull through for a slip stitch, and then here's our next stitch right there. So we go underneath that one, just like that, just slide right underneath that stitch, pull through. That's our 3rd slip stitch, and then we slip stitch right here when we are expanding and doing more rows. And to finish off, what I'm going to do is just do 1 extra chain because I have reached my desired length. And this is what that slip stitch going up to the next, that step up looks like on all of the rows. We did our chain to get up to here. Okay, and here's our slip stitch across. So if you will take notice of your seam, going back to the point where people have asked me why we do that slip stitch, it's so we can hide our seam just so nicely. Look how nicely that looks. Okay, that's our corner, that's our increase right here. And because we're chaining up and we're doing slip stitches, see, it just seamlessly hides right into our stitches. Okay, all right, so I am going to cut my yarn. I've already chained 1. So pull your yarn through. We've got a knot there. Okay, that is how I'm ending it. And we have our stitch markers. We can take those off. We should have one on the other side. So you're going to get your yarn needle. And you should have a good side and a back side because we were working in the rounds, so we didn't flip back and forth. So this is the wrong side, so look on your wrong side and just pull your yarn in back. I like to always weave in until I can get to this area right here. And then I just go underneath there and I just weave back 3 times. That will give a nice secure end right there. Cut your yarn. Do the same thing to any other places on our collar. We have one. So if we go back to our collar, and then any place that you changed yarns and added on, again, there will be a front and a back side. So here is where I connected a new skein. So just weave in all of your ends. We have one where we connected our collar also. So just weave in your ends nicely on the back side of your work. Find all those connections. All right, and let me show you the yardage that I used. So I was using the Red Heart roll with it in the colorway Showtime. The yarn was 100% acrylic, 5.2 ounces, 150 grams, 389 yards, 356 meters. And I used 2 plus I broke into a third to just do a few rounds. So this is my cake number 3, and I will be doing the fringe. And let me measure this and count my rows for you to show you how many rows that I did. So let me count my rows. Okay, I did 32 rows, and this is going to be, let's see, I'm gonna stretch it ever so slightly because it is gonna stretch. So this is maybe 32 inches going down to the bottom, stretching it just slightly because the fringe is going to stretch it, and it's gonna stretch slightly when you put it on and start wearing it. So maybe 32 inches long at the tallest point. So for making our fringe, I'm gonna use this fringe maker. You can find these on Amazon. They're not gonna look exactly like this. The ones that they're making now look flat. This is a flat piece of wood instead of a rounded piece of wood, but they work exactly the same. You just move these little pegs in and out. And I have it set on the longest one, which is 7 inches across. So if you find a book or a piece of cardboard or plastic, anything that is around that measurement, you can just wrap your yarn around, or you can just use a tape measure or a ruler to just measure out your fringe. This is so much easier, and you can find some that are very inexpensive. So I'm going to put my yarn on the floor in this plastic container, so I can just use it here and just wind it around. And I'm just going to show you some samples of me making this fringe, and then you can make it on your own. And fringe is optional, so if you do not even want fringe, you don't have to add fringe to your shawl, but I think it adds so much. And if you happen to run out of the color that you need your fringe in, you can just look through your yarn stash and try to get some colorways that are very similar and use that yarn. I am always looking for ways to use up my stash. All right, so if you are using variegated yarns, try to get a lot of different colors in your fringe so that it will look even all the way around. So we're getting our scissors. All right, so you find your piece of plastic, a wood, a ruler, whatever you need to do to wrap around. Or if you're using a ruler, you're going to measure out twice the length of your fringe. So if you want 5-inch fringe, you're going to measure 10 inches. If you want 7-inch fringe, you're going to want to measure out 14 inches. So measure out double if you're measuring your yarn flat like this, or if you're using a piece of cardboard, just wrap it around, and cut it. But this measurement is going to be roughly half of what you want your fringe to be. We're going to grab our poncho. And again, I like to put my fringe on the front side of the work, the good side of the work, not on the wrong side. So when I'm putting it on, I like to have the front side or good side of my work showing. And we're going to grab your fringe. Now you can make your fringe as thick or as thin as you want. It does take a whole lot of yarn, I will tell you that. So if you do 4 pieces, it's going to take a lot less than 5 pieces. But I like the way 5 pieces look, and I try to get different colors into my fringe. So that's why I told you to try to get as many colors as you can in your fringe piles. And I like to mix the colors up so it's not all sectioned off in different colors. And we are going to be inserting our hook into the place that we want our fringe. We're going to fold our fringe in half like this. We're going to hook our fringe here on the folded part, pull it through that hole. Then we're going to stick our fingers in this hole. You're going to line up your fringe. This just takes an extra second, but it's well worth it. So line up your fringe, right? Pinch it with your finger and pull it through, just like that. Okay, so that's what we're going to do for our fringe. So let me do another one. Again, I'm taking 5 pieces, but if you are short on yarn, maybe you're going to take 2, 3, 4, whatever. It's up to you. All right, and I like to make sure that I get some different colors of yarn. So I've got 5, but again, it's up to you how thick you want your fringe. And I like to put them in each of these spaces. Again, you could skip a space, it's all up to you. All right, so what we're going to do is fold our fringe in half like this. So we're folding it in half with one hand. We're putting our hook where we want our fringe. We're grabbing the folded end here, pulling it through the hole. Put your fingers in there, then line up your fringe. Whoa, my hands aren't working today. Okay, just line up your fringe. That will save you some time. Okay, and then you're going to pinch it with your finger and pull it through that hole, just like that. Okay, and then what I like to do is just every time I pull through my fringe, I just like to even it off right then and there. It's a lot easier than going around your poncho with a pair of scissors trying to cut your fringe. Let's go like that. Just even it off. Okay, so go ahead and continue if you're making fringe to put your fringe in all of your spaces, and I will meet you at the end. Okay guys, I have just finished my fringe, and make sure you go around and check to make sure that you weave in all of your ends. Don't forget the one that secures your collar. And look at all this beautiful fringe. Again, you don't have to do the fringe. The fringe is optional. You can make the fringe any length you want. You can make it longer, shorter. You could use less pieces. And going back just for a recap on the collar, if this collar is not wide enough for you, you can always chain more, or you could make the whole poncho bigger. Where's my tape measure? Right here. So this is measuring around 13 inches wide around 14 inches wide for the collar. And if you want to make a larger, more looser poncho, you could always go up to a 7 hook and make everything a little bigger and looser. It's all up to you. And if you want a roomier, larger size poncho when you're doing your initial chain for your neckline, just chain more multiples of 6. That will add 1 cluster to each side of your poncho. Okay, so now that we have finished our fringe, my fringe looks pretty good. I'm just gonna go and maybe steam it a little bit to get out any crinkles, but it looks pretty good. Sometimes when you're pulling from the end of a skein, it'll be very, very wrinkled. So depending on how wrinkled your fringe is, you may want to steam it. And this is what I'm left of skein of cake number 3. So I used 2 full cakes of the Red Heart roll with it. And then I used maybe half of the third skein. So you're gonna need about 2.5 cakes of yarn to do the poncho. So the smaller your poncho is, the less yarn you're going to need. And the larger you make your poncho, the more yarn you're going to need. But I can certainly save this for another project. So let's go steam our fringe and then we can see the final product. So if you have a personal steamer, you can just steam your fringe. Okay, it is finished. So here is our beautiful poncho. It's got this beautiful collar here. And you can either wear it like this, horizontally, with the longest parts at the side, like this. Gorgeous. Or you can wear it with a point in front, like this. Gorgeous. Love this colorway. Again, this is the Red Heart Roll with it, in the colorway Showtime. So gorgeous. Loving the colors. So beautiful. So beautiful. So I'm gonna go take some product photos of it, of me wearing it for you guys. I hope you love this tutorial. Please leave some kind words at the end of the video, and I will see you on the next tutorial or video. Thanks, guys.